All right, so I just finished my second 20 miler of this marathon training block, and it was not a fun one, but I did all right. So I finished the 20 miles. It was a progression run, so it was 15 miles easy, and then the final 5 miles were supposed to be at marathon pace. I did not do marathon pace. I did pick up the pace a little bit, but I did not hit marathon pace for the 5 miles for any of the 5 miles. This is one of those runs where you finish and you go, what on earth am I doing? Like, why did I sign up for this? And I'm never going to hit my goal, which happens every single marathon. So, just to go back to my very first marathon training ever, my very first 20 miler, it was in torrential rain, and I remember running home down the street to my house where I lived at the time, and I remember just saying, I think even out loud, just say 20, just say 20, just say 20. I had wired headphones in at the time, and I was just wanted it to say that I hit 20 miles. And it did, literally, as I hit my driveway. And like I said, it was pouring rain. I literally hobbled down my driveway into my garage where my husband met me with a towel and was like, congratulations, how did you do? And I'm bawling, saying, I cannot do this. I'm never going to finish the marathon because the 20 miler like wrecked me. But I did finish that marathon, so it was all okay. But I'm not gonna lie, every single marathon training, I think I do this at some point. So, a 20 miler, an 18 miler, some of these long runs, it takes a lot out of you, and then you start questioning and second guessing yourself. So just to go back a little bit and reintroduce myself and why I'm even doing these videos. So I am 48 years old. I am training for my 15th marathon, and I am hoping to do a sub 4 hour marathon. So I am running the Sugarloaf Marathon on May 17th. So it's coming up really fast. And I am hoping to knock 6 minutes and 28 seconds, actually 6 minutes and 29 seconds, because 4:06:28 is my PR. I hit that in 2023 at the Sugarloaf Marathon, so the same marathon. And for that marathon, I pretty strictly followed Pete Pfitzinger's advanced marathoning plan, which is a high mileage, high volume mileage plan. I did several weeks at over 60-mile weeks. I think I did a couple months of 280 miles a month, or a little more. So it was a lot of mileage. I sold a little piece of my soul to get that. But I PR'd. So my previous PR before that was 4:19 and some seconds. I don't even remember. So I had knocked almost 14 minutes off of my previous PR. So definitely high volume works 100%. And so I do love Fitz's plan, but it's rough. So for this marathon training block, I am doing a hybrid of Fitz's plan, but also Brad Hudson's Run Faster. It's from his book, Run Faster. And if you don't know Brad Hudson, he is all about progression and hill sprints to keep yourself healthy, and great workouts, and heavy on progression runs for shorter distances, but also even long distances, progression runs where your final miles are faster at threshold or marathon pace, but also he encourages you to finish them going uphill. So it works because I followed his plan just this last fall when I did the Mount Desert Island marathon, which, if you don't know anything about it, the Mount Desert Island marathon is gorgeous. It is like runner's world, one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful marathon in America. I tend to think Sugarloaf is prettier. That's just me. because Mount Desert Island is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but if you're running, you don't see that. Like if you're watching the race from a drone, probably, but from the ground, the way I will describe Mount Desert Island is death by 1,000 cuts. So, yeah, it's a rough one. But I did that in 4:15:59, and I was not running for time. So there is a lot to be said about hills and hill sprints. So I'm doing a hybrid plan, hoping to knock 6:28. What could derail me as what did this past week and today's run is, and I've mentioned it before, I've been struggling with a hamstring issue, which is way oversimplifying what has been going on. So I had hamstring pain, yes, but it really is a larger posterior chain issue that I have going on. Weak on my right side, which is constant. I have to constantly work on it. Tendon loading and neuromuscular retraining, because I can't even, when I go down steps, stairs, or try to do eccentric step down on my right side, I can't even do it. Like my brain doesn't even allow me to do it without throwing my hip out or grabbing something. So I've been working on that a lot. So in short, I've got to keep my form going and try to stay strong and hold my form through the later miles and work on marathon specific endurance. So that is what I'm working on, using Pfitz's and Hudson's training plan. And I also use Jack Daniels' VDOT system to know which paces to use. I said last week that I follow PacePro, and I discovered today that I have to look into this more. But today I noticed that PacePro was readjusting my goal every mile. So by the time I got to doing marathon pace, which I had set to 8:55 to 9 minutes, it said readjusting 9:13. So I'm going to have to look into that. It might be a little deceiving and may not be as helpful as I thought it was. So I'll have to look into that. But anyway, that is the goal. Sub 4-hour marathon at 48 years old in 4 or 5 weeks, May 17th. We're going for it. Today's 20 milers done. Next week, I've got 22 miles, then 23 miles. So we'll see what I can do. I've got to go recover, eat a lot more carbs, and then I will see you out on the road sometime soon. Have a great week and keep on running.